My name is Teal Chamberlain, and I am currently in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Philbrook Museum of Art. This painting is Mountain Valley by Thomas Moran, an 1865 oil on canvas. Thomas Moran is one of America's best-known landscape artists, most famous for his The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and the Chasm of the Colorado, which were purchased to be displayed in the Capitol in Washington. Moran painted these in 1873 on his second trip to the West. In 1865, when Mountain Valley was painted, Moran had yet to cross the Mississippi River and enter the West. Mountain Valley is a very naturalistic work, a beautiful portrayal of a single moment in nature. The linear structure of the piece is full of curves and waves, very organic and naturalistic, with no straight lines to be seen. The eye of the viewer is caught by the soft lighting of the river below the herd of goats, and the equally soft illumination of the cliffside on the upper right. The lighting leads the eyes around the central focus of the two crossing trees, which in turn draw the viewer to the two people and their goats, tiny against the backdrop of the valley. To view the painting from a semiotic perspective, considering the period and the other works of Moran, I look at the tiny, insignificant humans against the scale of the painting, representative of humanity, bold, perhaps, in their challenge of nature, and contentedly unaware of the great obstacle they face in that challenge. The surrounding nature, then, represents the overwhelming obstacle presented by the natural world, potentially the great challenge posed by the western frontier, which Moran himself would take on in the near future. The foreboding mountains, darkened by the ominous clouds, contrast the small pool of light around the relaxing goat watchers, a small point of hope rising against overwhelming odds. Mountain Valley, like many of Moran's paintings, shows some very obvious romantic influences, with the overwhelming wildness of nature dwarfing the tiny humans who dared to brave its force and might. This clear distinction of the vast expanse of nature juxtaposed with the smallness of man is iconic of Romantic art. The Romantic movement in the U.S. was supported by the westward movement, so it is no surprise to see it in the works of an artist so well known for his image of the western landscape. Thomas Moran is one of my favorite American artists. I fell in love with his Shoshone Falls on the Snake River on a class trip to Tulsa in 6th grade. Though Mountain Valley is very different from Shoshone Falls, I find myself drawn to it as well. The dark, forbidding sky, the enormous outcropping of stone, much reminiscent of my own journeys west, while still reminding me of home. And most of all, the concept of nature as a wild, untamable thing, as I imagine it was especially then, lead me to hold my breath and wonder of how differently Thomas Moran and his contemporaries must have viewed the world I inhabit today.